now a trans track star who ran in the Olympic trials this week. Nikki Hiltz is non-binary and came very close to qualifying for the American team. Nikki, tell me, what would going to the Olympics have meant for you?
Oh, it would have been everything. It would have been a childhood dream come true. But, just being able to show up as myself and race as a non-binary athlete this past weekend has been everything.
Yeah, tell me about that. How are you feeling about your races this week?
I got sick right before the 1500 final. I think just the pollen in Eugene is something my lungs aren't used to. So that was really unfortunate, and I had 2 rest days before the 8 to try to kick it, but it just wasn't in the cards this year. But I'm really happy with the way I competed and put myself in it in 2 events.
Nikki, you ran college track in Arkansas, but you now say you wouldn't feel safe visiting Arkansas. How will the bills in that state and dozens of other states limit not just the careers of trans athletes, but their ability to live their day-to-day lives?
Yeah, it's crazy. I spent 3 years in Arkansas, and I think, I just don't feel safe there anymore just because of these bills and, the way that they're passing through. I think it's really going to limit a lot of people, especially trans people. And, it's just heartbreaking. And, that's why I'm so determined to keep showing up as myself and, trying to make space for trans people in sport.
Well, to that point, you wrote in your coming out letter, quote, "The playing field can be a very gendered place." How does that show up for you? How does that show up for other athletes? And how can sports be more inclusive and mindful of non-binary athletes?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, for me, it all comes back to language. I think, I changed my pronouns and now I'm referred to as they, them, and it feels amazing. I hope sports can, change their language too. I heard Megan Rapinoe say, she said, athletes competing in women's sports. And, that for me was like, that's it. Sometimes when I'm in the call room and I hear the women's 1500, it kind of shakes me for a minute in a moment where I'm trying to, focus on the biggest race of my life. So I think we can all change our language and make sport, accepting for everyone.
Nikki, you founded the Pride 5K during the pandemic. Besides raising money for the Trevor Project, what do you see as the goal of this race?
Yeah, it's funny. I talk about it as a race, but I think it's more of a community than anything, and to create a space for people around the world to run together. And last year, we had 4 people actually use the race to come out and to be their true authentic self. And I think that right there is what the Pride 5K is all about. It's creating a safe space, for people to be their unapologetic self. And I'm going to keep, leaning into that, my advocacy work, just as much as I'm going to, keep fighting to make that Olympic team.
Nikki, what is particularly heartbreaking about the legislation that we're seeing across the country is how many pieces of legislation are just aimed at kids who want to play sports. For a kid that is watching who might feel like they're under attack by their state government, what is your message to them?
Yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking. And I think these are kids that just want to play and be themselves. And I would say to that kid, like, you're special and you're magical and there's nothing wrong with you. And, you want to play sports like everyone else and you deserve to. So there's so many people that have your back and love you and are going to fight for you. And I think, when change is coming, I think that's when there's the hardest pushback sometimes. So like the wave is coming, the change is coming, and, keep leaning into people and things, and more importantly, yourself, because at the end of the day, you have to be on your own side.
Nikki Hiltz, thank you for showing up as yourself. I know that you're creating space for other people to do the same. I appreciate your time.